Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with the Weekly Comic Book Roundup. Moving on now to this week's Avengers books, as well as our Devil's Reign tie-ins. Got a Miscellaneous Marvel book and our first DC book of the week. Kicking things off, we've got Avengers number 53. Where we had left off, the multiversal Masters of Evil were beginning their assault on Earth 616. With some of them preparing to attack Avengers Mountain itself. While Valkyrie had brought a Deathlock with her, and around the same time that Namor was attempting to talk to Black Panther. So we open with a kind of the origin story of the member of the Multiversal Masters of Evil, Kid Thanos. Apparently he, as he puts it, disassembled animals to see for himself how they functioned. You know, the way someone might a clock. And this included, this would eventually lead to him well, dissecting sentient beings, such as his mother. But he tells Doom all of this. In thoughts, perhaps Doom might understand as this version of Doom wears the skin of the woman he loved as an armor. But they are beginning a mystical assault upon Avengers Mountain. Namor and Valkyrie are, of course, since they're there, they figure they may as well help. Namor goes after Thanos. Doom goes after the Deathlock. But Valkyrie is going to help. And for a moment, it seems that both Doom and Thanos in their individual fights seem to get the upper hand, with Doom managing to return Jane Foster to the way she was before her cancer was cured, and Thanos having stuck more than a few blades in Namor. But the tide has turned and Black Panther joins the battle with basically anti-magic suit. Explaining that it consists of thrice-blessed vibranium Dambe boxing cords, stones from the Wakandan necropolis, armor of metallicized Orisha blood. Red Panther is now activated. But it's enough to get it seems to be enough to get Doom to escape, or Doom on the ropes, while Namor goes after Thanos again. But during all this, both Doom and Thanos teleport away. And Black Panther realizes that they planted explosives throughout Avengers Mountain. And the issue ends with the mountain exploding. It's quite the ending. Not a bad issue. The Death Hunters arc is definitely an interesting one thus far. But anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, number 4. Where we left off, it seemed that Kate had finally found the ringleaders of this new circus of crime and had been taken prisoner by them. It appears that the that the boss of things is the original ringmaster's daughter or niece. But they're basically going to liquidate the chateau and go after the cosmic cube shard that was in the keeping of the Bishop family. Kate manages to escape. Calls both America Chavez and Cassie Lang to meet her at the Bishop Mansion. As she comes out of the basement, she sees that both the guests and the employees of the chateau are set in the place aflame. She's able to knock out the brainwashing and on them, and everyone, all the guests escape relatively unharmed, somewhat safely at least. But the building explodes, and Kate, her sister, and Lucky the pizza dog end up in the pool. Definitely worst place to end up after an explosion. But that is where the issue ends. Always a fun title. Always a fun series. It's been a fun series so far. This is apparently the next to last issue. Yeah, like I said, overall a fun book. Moving on to our next book, we've got Devil's Reign, number 6. Where we left off, the Kingpin had learned that the Purple Man's children were to blame for him being unable to read his file on Daredevil. And the heroes had come to realize that Fisk is using Purple Man to influence the city. We begin with a 2-week time jump. Turns out that shortly after the events of the previous issue, Fisk unleashed anti-crime drones, impenetrable, unhackable, otherworldly. They fly through the city with their damn eyes, hunting anyone who dares ignore Fisk's zero tolerance policies. And Fisk breaks the news or Octavius breaks the news to Fisk that the new Kingpin, Fisk's son, has been arrested. Daredevil goes to visit Foggy Nelson in the hospital, versus Foggy's partner, and they discuss trying to figure out what's to be done. But Fisk gathers his thunderbolts and sends them out after Purple Man's children. And it turns out that an invisible woman has managed to deactivate her power inhibitor collar, gets to Mr. Fantastic, and a bunch of the cells open up, including the one holding Moon Knight, who goes after one of the guardsmen. But yeah, the Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman lead basically a prison riot consisting of themselves, Tony Stark, Danny Rand, and Moon Knight. Honestly, that seems like it would probably work out well. But the mayor gets his son released. His son doesn't... basically, yeah, he doesn't want much to do with it with his father. But elsewhere, Rhino is facing off against the champions. However, Rhino wasn't looking for a fight. In fact, he slaps Thunderbolt's badges on all of them. And he explains that he tells him he's not a bad guy. The Thunderbolt's gig was a good, paying, lawful gig. And he explains that the mayor wanted them to go after some kids who had done nothing wrong. And well, that's not who Rhino is. He needed to tell someone, one of the hero types. And so Miles passes along the information to the Avengers. And Jessica Jones tells Miles that the champions have officially been drafted. And that she intends to find the Purple Man's kids. And if Fisk or Octavius or anyone gets in Jessica's way, she'll end them. But Fisk has a talk with his wife, Typhoid Mary. And one of the things she tells him is that she doesn't really remember their first time together. But years of treatments and trauma have robbed her of so much, but she remembers how it felt, but not the details. So he uses his staff, or his walking stick, which had on the top a smaller version of the prism in which Purple Man is held, and if I remember correctly, within the prism on his cane is Purple Man's thumb, and he uses it and says that he wants her to remember, and she does. But then Fisk has an idea, runs out on the roof of City Hall into the rain, and simply states, "Remember." And he does. Remembering that Matt Murdock is Daredevil. And that is where the issue ends. We got 2 more issues of Devil's Reign to go. And surprisingly, not too many tie-ins. But good issue. I have my hopes as to how things end, and I imagine, the heroes will eventually triumph over Mayor Fisk, and we'll be reading, Mayor Cage in the Marvel books, but we'll see. Anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Moon Knight, number 8. Where we left off, okay, so in Devil's Reign number 1, Moon Knight was arrested by the Thunderbolts which is how this is a Devil's Reign tie-in. But Hunter's Moon, the other Dr. Badir, has taken over the Midnight Mission in Mark's absence. But a former cop comes to him. Got some crime scene photos, a symbol that points to Stained Glass Scarlet. The story of Stained Glass Scarlet is explained. Scarlet Fasanera married a gangster, gave birth to another. Cops killed her husband, she killed her son. She turned vigilante, dabbled a bit in terrorism. Moon Knight butted heads with her a couple times, and they had an interesting relationship. But it's noted that so Hunter's Moon Knight, she's returned to vigilantism or terrorism. Though the person talking to him explains that a little of both, as it turns out, and returns is an apt turn of phrase, because Scarlet Fasanera died 2 years ago. And so, Hunter's Moon finds her. It's largely an issue about the story of the issue is largely about the power of stories, but he's able to somewhat summon Khonshu, to a degree at least, to take down Stained Glass Scarlet. And he defeats her, but there are still those who remember. After the fight, Dr. Badir apologizes. To, oh crud. To the young woman that has been helping Mark run the Midnight Mission, as he initially did try to kill her, on account of that she's a vampire. We had an epilogue at Ravencroft Asylum where someone's gotten loose. Someone described as being an ex-Hydra assassin / terrorist, four figures with the bodies to their name. Almost turned Taipei into a glass parking lot before he was put in Ravencroft. We've got a... Yeah, there seems to be a name by myself, but I can't read what it is, so yeah. Anyway, that is where the issue ends. Now, as I understand, we are getting a Moon Knight one-shot to tie in a Devil's Reign, so likely dealing with Moon Knight being in the Myrmidon. But as always, a great, good issue, damn good issue, in fact. Anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Maestro, World War M, #1. Where we left off at the end of Maestro War in Pax, the Maestro had defeated Doom, was consolidating his power. The issue begins with the Kremlin. Emil Blonsky, the Abomination, is informed that the Doctor is being uncooperative. What doctor, you may ask? Why none other than Dr. Bruce Banner. But But then the Maestro shows up, tosses Abomination out of the building, and kills his wife. Much in the same way that Abomination killed Betty Ross once upon a time. And then MODOK appears, explaining that there are missiles en route to where they're at, and he tells Abomination that they're in a that he's basically being kept in cryostasis and in a simulation. He's awakened and digs himself out of a hole and finds himself. He was being kept in the same location that Hulk had been when he awoke. He starts walking, really. He's attacked by some Atlantean soldiers. But the fight is stopped by those Atlantean soldiers' king, Namor, the Submariner. After all, Namor had no interest in the Abomination. His soldiers were sent after the Hulk. And it seems that Namor and the Abomination have a bit to talk about. In Latveria, Doom is not doing well. But tries to get in touch with Rick Jones, but Rick's not entirely there. And the members of the rebellion are trying to figure out what they're going to do when it comes to Maestro. And then you have the Minister secretly working with Namor. And informing Namor that, yeah, Maestro's on his way to you. He's leaping across the country. So she'll be there by morning. He's wanting to make sure that the AIM site had actually been destroyed, and yeah, it was. But the Golden Age Human Torch, Jim Hammond, shows up, takes a few pot shots at Maestro. Maestro can take it. And Maestro notes that the torch is headed towards the ocean. Perfect place for round 2. And that is where the issue ends. I really enjoy these Maestro minis. It's apparently intended to be a trilogy altogether. With this being the concluding chapter, with this series being the concluding chapter. So it'll be interesting to see how it all works out. I imagine we may end up basically being right at the beginning of the Future Imperfect story by the time World War M ends. Anyway, moving on to our last book for the moment, we've got the Justice League 2022 Annual. So, we begin in a possible future. OMAC, the one-man army corps, is trying to fix things. Brother Eye helping him along. Bursts into one of the Intercorp buildings, and he finds Hawkgirl encased in a stasis chamber. In the present, Hawkgirl is trying to plan a welcome back surprise party for Diana. It seems to have gone pretty well. Everyone's quite happy to see Diana. And then Brother Eye shows up, or OMAC shows up, and passes out. They're collating data on Batman's collating data on him, trying to figure out what's going on. But there's an energy signature that Kellex noted before OMAC's arrival, and it popped up at various other points in the world. So the League splits up to go check out the readings. One is in New Orleans, apparently the old Legion of Doom's headquarters. The team going to investigate is Naomi, Wonder Woman, and Hippolyta. They find a man inside working on something, trying to find something. Next, team consisting of Aquaman, Green Arrow, and Black Canary go to Blackgate Prison, where apparently Killer Croc has started a riot in an effort to get free. The energy signature is coming from a cell which apparently contains Solomon Grundy, except that he's not in there. As Superman, John Kent, informs them. What is in there is a serving droid, encased in a similar field as the one that Hawkgirl was encased in the future. Elsewhere, Black Adam runs across a man who claims to be Epoch the Time Lord, but he's just not sure when he is. When Solomon Grundy shows up and attacks Adam. In the present, or elsewhere, OMAC wakes up and Batman tries to talk to him, but he sees Hawkgirl and Hawkgirl asks him what happens. But things are getting worse for the Blackgate team. Flash opts to take Hawkgirl to Blackgate to help out. She does. But Epoch then shows up at Batman. He basically screwed up something, and this is explained. He's stuck in time, many times, sometimes all times, a bunch of them all at once. He really doesn't need any help. He wants no one to help, but he does need one of the versions of him that needs OMAC, and Hawkgirl is taken away, as is OMAC, and then Hawkgirl returns, armored up, uses the device on him, and all the four versions of Epoch all end. Apparently, she'd been gone for some time, though to the League, she'd only been gone for 45 seconds. Green Arrow asks what the future looks like, and she simply tells them, however, that it looks like they need to work harder. A lot harder. Afterwards, Hippolyta and Diana have a talk about Hippolyta's place on the League. With Hippolyta explaining that she originally sent Diana to Man's World to teach her lessons that Hippolyta now realizes she never learned herself. Diana asks if her mother will be staying on the League, and Hippolyta states that it's a place with a surprising number of informal comings and goings, so she thinks she'll take advantage and informally come and go. And she also states that Black Adam, is headed for true greatness. One of the last things that Epoch said, however, before leaving was beware the Gold Lantern, which is something they're looking for. In the swamps where the Legion of Doom headquarters had been, the Gold Lantern ring is there. And we already know there is a Gold Lantern operating with the Legion of Superheroes in the far future. But that is where the issue ends. Though it does have it to be continued in Justice League versus Legion of Superheroes. And that will do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rocket Spock signing off, saying live long and rock hard.